us shooting the shit.
Okay.
It's just us talking.
Okay.
And I'm figuring out what it's going to be.
It was like when Tony got that ace today, and he was like, "That's the MVP, or that's the best server of the AVP." I was like, "Oh shit." She is, but you know. I don't know, I just thought it was weird timing.
What was weird about
Weird timing to say it right after she
Like,
was
as the
ace.
girl just gets ace, and she's like, "Oh," and you're like, "That's the best server of the AVP." I was like, "Hell yeah, she is," but like,
But it's not like I said it to her. I just said it like
That's what I felt like.
yeah.
what you're proposing is anti-bad motherfucker vibes. You're like, let's be nice to everybody vibes.
I felt like, have you seen the whole practice? Because this is the only thing. I was just like, he wasn't there for the part where I was yelling. Never mind.
What were you yelling?
I don't remember, but the situation
I was trying to get these bad vibes out of me, and I started yelling like,
in the middle of the round.
"Get it out! Get it out!"
She's setting
Throw
me,
it
as
up.
she's setting me, she's like, throw it up. And the other team's like,
Is
"Are
she
you
okay? They're like, "Are you okay? We thought you were hurt." I'm like, "No, I'm not hurt."
What were the vibes that the demons you were trying to exercise? And by the way, this is recording.
Oh, you can see me?
Yeah.
What do you think the camera's pointing at you were about?
I was just getting so... I told Geena after practice, I was getting pissed because the drills don't allow us to get to the state of flow that I like to feel. But then by the end of practice, I was like, ooh, we flowing. Yeah, so that was fine. But I was just getting frustration.
This is what ChatGPT and I came up with.
Oh my god.
Bad motherfucker vibes represent the unique energy an athlete taps into when performing at their absolute best. It's not a one-size-fits-all mindset, but rather an individualized zone where confidence, intensity, and focus align with the athlete's personality and disposition. It exists on a continuum. Some dominate, and this is ChatGPT, with an ice-cold, unshakable presence, while others thrive on fiery, explosive energy, which oddly enough seems to describe this you two. Like,
Ice cold
Nice.
beer.
and then whatever, nut job crazy is the second one. So wherever an athlete falls on the spectrum, the vibe allows them to block out doubt, elevate their game, and impose their will on the sporting environment. It's the mindset that separates good from great. That's more ChatGPT. So that's the theme of it, right? And I think as figuring this out, whatever this is, you guys are a great example to start with because you are so different.
Mm-hmm.
So again, this is more casual. It's just us, and the having breakfast the day of kind of vibe and anything else. What is it, when you hear me talk about this, how does it resonate? What do you think, especially this isn't really about sports psychology directly, but in the vein of maybe what we do together and how you guys are developing as athletes, how does the vibe thing hit you?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's just like everybody's so different. So it's figuring out what it is when you are talking about badass vibes. You texted me this one time, and I gotta find it in my notes now, but I wrote it down because it really resonated with me. You said you are a badass when you are calm, quiet, and present.
Yeah.
And so that's something that I really try to think about a lot, from a self-talk standpoint of like thinking about when we went over like different pillars for myself individually, like when we started working together a couple years ago, and like what it looks like when I'm performing my best. And I think the calm, quiet, present is definitely something I try to like embody to like not only get to the point of feeling like a badass or this confident player, but also because that ultimately is when I'm playing my best, is when I'm in that mode too. So
How do you become aware if you're in it or not in it, or like how do you know where you are at any given point?
Yeah, I mean, like, for example, the quiet is a little relative because I can get quiet when I'm struggling, but I think the calm and quiet is kind of goes in hand, where, like, I don't really, like, need to say or do anything extra. Like, I already know what I'm gonna execute, and I already know that I am executing well. And then, yeah, I mean, the present moment is, like, I can tell when I'm not fully there, if I'm ruminating on something that just happened or stressed about what's about to come. So, yeah, I just think I can tell when one of those is, like, not working or going well.
Yeah, Tony, what's your version? Obviously, you're more fiery.
The exact opposite.
Yeah, how does that go in your head?
I almost went laughing. It's not funny.
I know, I get it.
Like, quiet and calm. Two things that aren't occurring when I'm on the court.
But you're present.
I'm present.
Yeah.
Present.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
If you're not quiet and calm, what are you?
Okay, calm is. I wouldn't say I'm not calm. I just would say the inside's usually pretty calm, but the outside's a little more outward. Like, yeah, fiery, passionate. If I'm getting quiet, that's a problem, probably.
How do you, like, what's your internal barometer to know when you're, like, in it?
If I'm having a dialogue with myself, that's not maybe intentional. Like today at practice, I was fighting a lot of internal thoughts, like, oh, we're better than this team. Oh, this girl's pissing me off. Oh, this. Oh, that. Like picking up on things that I'm not usually thinking about. Like if I start doing that, I know I'm not, like, fully engaged, or I'm not fully present, or I'm not in my, let's just call vibes, flow state, badass, whatever.
So I think what you said is when you start to recognize you're talking, you got like a running commentary, kind of in a negative way on what's happening, you know you're sort of slipping out of where you should be.
Yeah, usually if I'm in the vibe or the flow, like, I'm not even thinking about those things. Like, those things aren't even able to come in, really. Like, it's more that I'm thinking about nothing.
Do you have a mechanism to get you back to that?
I mean, I think just, like, the better the connection is with me and Geena, usually I can get out of that state pretty quickly. And just, like, today, like, one of the thoughts was like, oh my gosh, we should be crushing this team. And then as soon as I was like, it doesn't matter who we're even playing, that kind of, like, helped me get out of those thoughts. Like, it's like reframing what I'm doing, or why I'm doing it, or where I'm at.
So you're saying that this was like an indicator of what you were saying before. You're going, we should be crushing this team, like, because you weren't?
Yeah.
And then does that turn something on for you, like flip a switch?
Yeah, usually, yes. I'll get a little more fired up. But I was also battling, like, just trying to get reset. I don't know, it was interesting. But by the end of the practice, I was fine.
I find it super interesting how when really good teams play teams that are not as good, like, not saying bad teams, just teams not as good. And this is what I've worked with you guys on individually, I work with everybody on, is being able to dial up your, like, killer vibe all the time. And what then happens is when you're not, because you're like, yeah, whatever, it's practice, or they're not as good as us, that you're not as intense as you would normally be, or you're not as crisp, or there's not as much stink on the ball, and then you go, well, what's happening? We should be beating them. Well, you're actually beating yourselves. I'm not saying that about you today. I'm just saying this is what I noticed.
Well, yeah,
I noticed.
By the end of the practice, we had no constraints, and we were able to just
just play.
Yeah, and that's when I felt my best.
Gotcha. Which is typical.
And then we, like, literally crushed them.
Yeah.
And it was, like, not a big deal. Like,
yeah.
But, like, the build up to that was just like, oh my gosh. I was just sitting there like, oh my gosh.
for either of you, for both of you, besides like nothing AVP, nothing professional or at this level, greatest like swagger memory you have being an athlete? So sometime before, like college and earlier.
I know mine.
What is it? Why you had a little hesitation there?
Cool, because I was trying to think about either high school or college. But in college, my freshman year, the coaches were kind of juggling me back and forth between being a libero or defensive specialist, and I'd always been an outside hitter growing up, and so to go from being the top point scorer on my club teams to not scoring points at all, I was like, this is really difficult. But what happened in the middle of the season was there were a bunch of injuries with our pin hitters, and so they're like, Geena, we need you to play outside. And I was like, okay, but I haven't even hit a ball in months because you've had me just playing defense, you know.
Yeah.
But I was like, all right, whatever, I'm gonna take this challenge on. And we were matched up that weekend against Stanford and Cal. So we were playing Stanford. It was like Alex Kleiman, Cynthia Barboza, Brady Kehoe, Faluca, and I just remember like having to block Faluca. I was like, oh my gosh, she's way over me. But anyway, those were like two of the best teams in our conference at the time, and we beat them both in 5. And I was like one of the leading scorers on the team next to our opposite, and it was just like, I can do this. And it was cool to know that like, yeah, I'm still capable of doing this.
Yeah. At
an elite level, at one of the best conferences at the time, you know, against some of the best players in the nation, and then the injuries. Our outside hitter was injuring worse, and then I got benched again. But like, you know,
Yeah.
I came in and I did my job, and so that's like a fun core memory for me.
What's yours, Tony? Or any? I mean, doesn't have to be one.
In 2020, when I was playing at LSU on the beach team, we were in the championship match in Hawaii, and it came down to the 3s court, and me and my partner ended up clinching the duel to beat UCLA for the first time in program history.
Ooh.
Yeah, nice. It was just sick.
So you see how you go, I don't really know, you know, and then as you're saying it, you get a smile and you a little lift, and you even got a little smile and lift of recognition, noticing it. That's what I'm always trying to teach you about dialing in that crazy level of like right from the start is like bringing up those memories because you have that physical thing associated with it too. Sweet. What's the difference, get an answer for both of you, between confidence and arrogance? Because neither of you're both confident in different ways, but I don't normally see arrogance. But as you see other people, men, women, whoever, what's the difference?
I think arrogance has an aura of disrespect to it. So it can be a little unsportsmanlike. It can be a little like unrealistic view of like how you view yourself compared to others.
Like inflated?
Inflated. At the end of the day, like, yes, some players I think are better than others, but I also just think that we are all human, and we're, you know, like, we all make mistakes. So, at the end of the day, I think just confidence comes from within, whereas arrogance is like a little bit of an external factor.
I remember you telling me one time that you had a thought, or I don't know if it was a particular thing, but like you're serving somebody. And they were struggling, and then you're like, well, maybe I should serve the other person. Like, you just wanted to be nice.
Well, in practice sometimes, yeah. It's like, are we competing? Are we like playing to win right now? Because if so, then like, I'm gonna serve this person every ball. Or is it like, are we wanting to get, this is practice, the other person should have a fair amount of reps too?
Yeah.
You know?
The way I remember you telling me that, it wasn't like that. But I believe you. I believe you. I just think you're so nice, you know, like the opposite of arrogant is like,
Right.
Let everybody play.
Or like today, it's like, okay, you know, let's serve the other person because we want a little bit more of a challenge.
Yeah, sure.
You know, so yeah, I mean,
I got you.
yeah, but that's my take on.
Tony, you?
I think similar to Geena, I think confidence is a choice that you make. I guess arrogance is too, but I think most people are arrogant based on kind of like what she said, external, like wanting to show people like who you are and prove something. Yeah, I just think confidence, you can be confident because you work really hard, or that's at least how I view it. Like I put in the work to feel like, or to make the decision to be confident, and at the end of the day, yeah, that's kind of how I view it. But I think arrogance is a little more cocky. I don't know.
You just said something that had never occurred to me before. You said something like it was for other people to see. That's not what you said, but that's the way I heard it. Like
Yeah.
there's like some outward thing of it that's like you're trying to show something
Yeah.
Or, like,
versus be
validation.
something. Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
yeah, having it come from within and like being okay with, the confident within yourself versus needing to show people, you know, you're
Yeah.
confident. Like all you need is validation with yourself. You don't need validation from others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you choose the confidence piece. Yeah. Interesting.
How are you feeling about, the league starting and being the inaugural champions, and like it's a much different starting place than last year where it was like nobody even knew what this was or what it was going to be, and then there was some struggles, and now obviously as the champions there's an even more desire for people to beat you. So how are you sort of feeling about that in the context of confidence and vibes and flow and all that?
I mean, I'm not even thinking about people wanting to beat us. I just want to like continue to build off of what we started last year as a team.
Mm-hmm.
I also reframe it in a way where like, there's a lot of things that you can't control in the league, like how other cities do, how our men's team did, etc. And so, I mean, we performed when it came down to it, but there were opportunities for others. I just think there's a lot of things you can't control. So we just like all you can do is just take care of your side of the net.
Yeah.
And sure, yeah, people want to beat us, but like they also want to beat everybody else too. So I don't want to put us up on that. Like I don't mentally, for me, I don't see us on that pedestal the way people view us. I mean, yeah, of course, like I think we're a great team. And we're capable of beating anybody, but like for me it's like how much better can we then be as a team from where we left off last year.
Tony, what about you? Same as what Geena said.
I think it's been interesting, like just like in everyday life, like people being like, oh, there's the league champion, or like making little comments like that. Which obviously I think it was like really awesome and cool and amazing that we accomplished that after being like the bottom of the totem pole. But yeah, I just think being the best team is like my goal for this year, and like just continuing to learn and grow is like what I really want out of this experience, and going into the season, like just like learning as much as possible. Not just about me, but yeah, about our team and how we can get better. And
can you be great and have this swagger, vibe, flow, however you want to call it, and have a balanced life?
I feel like I've teetered with that. In the past couple years especially. Just with like, I mean, not that it's like so all consuming of my life, but at the same time, I've made those decisions and it's resulted in like good, and I'm not saying like I'm only focused on volleyball. I think balance is unrealistic in life. I think that sometimes we get thrown things that we can't, have a great balance of certain things we want to focus on. But I think that whatever it is that you are in, like, whatever it is you're doing in that moment is like all you can do is just give your best and be as present as you can in that moment. So yeah, I mean, I've teetered with like, it's like I've pretty much stopped drinking every once in a while, celebration, but like and I take sleep super seriously. I'm like working out all the time. I barely even took an off season. But for me, I know I've played long enough to know what it takes to be my best, and like that definitely helps me be my best.
What about you in that regard? And because specifically what occurred to me was how much extra you've done with all the international stuff. Is it hard to stay balanced? Do you feel balanced, like your life is balanced with all that travel and stuff?
No, I don't feel like it's balanced. Not necessarily. I've always actually wondered this question. I've had a lot of thoughts about this question because I think wanting to make an Olympic run is like, I don't know, you see like the greats like April Ross, like she put her whole life into the sport, and not saying she didn't have a social life, because I'm sure she did, and I'm sure she had balance in her life. It's just like she was so intense, like you just like know how much work she was putting in, and I don't know, I'm always asking myself like, am I putting in enough work to get to these goals that I have, or am I working hard enough, or should I be doing more? So I don't really know the answer to the question. I think I've done a good job, especially last year, like trying to find a balance. But yeah, I think I'm still really learning that aspect. I'm only 3 years in.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say this as like in the most neutral way I can, but Geena, you remember this? Speaking of April, her when we had that meeting, where it pointed out that she was like a little bit neurotic because we did a personality assessment.
She didn't think she was, yeah.
Yeah, and then she's like, you know, she got irritated by it or whatever, and she came up to me like the next time I saw her, and she was like, you know what, I've been thinking about it. I do, you know, I am a little bit intense, and I'm not saying that she's neurotic. That's just what the assessment. That's the qualifying phrase. But, you know, I told her, it's like, you don't get the trophy case you have by not being a little bit obsessed. You can't have that, you know? Right. So that's interesting for you to think about because you're, like you said, you're new into this, but you're making this 4-year run at something. Yeah. Maybe you need to be a little out of balance.
I think this is an interesting thought, but the harder I've tried to be good at this sport, like, the slower it's taken me to get, I don't know how to explain this the right way. Like, I've tried really, really hard, like, on my first couple years on tour, like, really hard. Like, I'm gonna I'm gonna be super, like, dialed. And then, like, I don't know, maybe there was a moment of, like, freedom where I just was like, I'm gonna put in enough work and I'm gonna do what I need to do to be good or great. And things just kind of started flowing a little bit better. I don't know. Maybe it was like the pressure I was putting on myself, or
like sometimes holding on too tight to something.
Yeah. I think I was like, I wanted it so badly that like it felt further away, versus like kind of just like allowing,
putting in the work and knowing that results will come.
Yeah, I think sometimes, and this might apply to you because being a newer player, that you want the thing, you know, and so you do too much. You just do more and more. You're like, well, I don't have anything I can hold, so I should do more and more. And then you find a balance that you go, oh, there's a diminishing return there that I just have to do what I have to do, and then the rest comes. Right. How has that been for you as it's coming to you? Does it? Because I know you and I've had some of these conversations about when was your time and whatever, or you know, I want my time to come. How is that changing for you?
I guess maybe one of the biggest turning points was just kind of like, obviously working with you, but I think like making changes in my personal life has also kind of allowed my career to excel as well.
No, I don't even really think about that, you know, anymore, but yeah for sure.
I mean, like I like, my life's like 360.
Yeah.
And like, I was thinking about it today, like, wow, like, my personal life is just so, and it's not that bad things aren't happening, or like things here and there that I'm stressed out about, but it's just like the environment in which I'm in is like so much healthier to allow for my career to excel.
I don't want this to be I'm not asking this for self-aggrandizing, but what do you think working with me changed for you? Because in the idea of a mindset or the vibes or the flow thing, like, what did you change to get where you are?
I think like I just think back to Manhattan Beach the week leading up, and like, I don't know, just not feeling super confident and like, just not having the most fun on the court. Like I just think back to like maybe having like more of a negative perspective towards the game, wanting it so badly, not getting what I want, feeling all of this pressure, and then obviously working with you and working on some of those things. I just feel like it kind of flipped my mindset and changed the way I viewed things, or like gave me a different perspective maybe.
Is it fair to say that the change was you went from the sort of the outcome focus of when do I get to win, when is my time, to dialing into the process and the partnership and the team, and then the results come because that's really how it works?
Yeah, I mean that was exactly what happened.
You have any thoughts going on?
I just remember we played Virginia Beach a couple weeks before the Manhattan Beach Open, and we lost in the quarters, I think. And you know, after we lost, we took our own time, and then we came together to like discuss like 20 minutes later, and then Toni was, you know, she was crying, and she was like, she was upset, and she was frustrated. She's like, I wasn't frustrated in the way we played. I was just like, and I think it's hard to like not compare to and to see other people that maybe you've played with before, or other competitors who are maybe doing better. And I've been there before, and I know what that feels like. And she was like, she's like, I don't know if my time's ever gonna come. Like, I don't know. And I was like, you gotta just have faith and like all this stuff. And then literally we're warming up for our semifinal match in the Manhattan Beach Open. I remember being like, hey, it's your time.
Hell yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So,
that's
like,
awesome.
anyway.
I get a little teary-eyed just remembering all that stuff.
Me too.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
It's cool to have like the veteran and the newer player, like to watch that dynamic. She is a vet now, but watching last year, Toni, you negotiating how to do everything, and then even playing, like, you know, you guys played at a super high level against super high level competitors, and there was some little bumps and bruises. And watching you negotiate that, I was like, man. And this is an interesting thing I've noticed about you too, though, over the years. When you get presented a new idea, you just dial it in, and then the next tournament it's locked, which is amazing, which I think you could kind of see this year. Any sort of like things you guys really looking forward to this year in the league?
Just competing together again, I think.
Oh, let me think about it.
AVP. Just
What
kidding.
are we looking for?
Yeah, I just want to like, I'm just like competing together, and I mean, yeah, of course, I need to reframe it and be like, we're getting challenged against some of the best teams in the nation, and like, how cool is that? How special is that? And you know, we're part of a new movement in our sport that hopefully is going to show promise. And we were also the first league champions ever. Like, I just, it's cool to say, and yeah.
Not even part of a movement, like you set the cornerstone of it by winning.
Yeah. I just think that like, as I've gotten older, I want to make as big of an impact as I can. And if that means like, I mean, sure, yeah, winning is great, and it would be nice to win again and do really well. But ultimately, like, I just want to represent us well, the sport well, younger generations, you know.
I just saw that your post about Cinco de Mayo.
Oh yeah.
So it's kind of mirroring what you just said. So so I don't know that I've ever really heard you articulate it that way, but it sounds like you kind of have a real sense of legacy.
I just think a lot about what's going on right now, and I just want to, and then I just think about my family. I mean, all my grandparents have passed away, but I think about what they did and what their parents did to like allow me to be where I am today.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm the first kid, like I think I'm the first in my family to ever graduate from a four-year institution, you know, like things like that. So
What was the lineage of those pictures? Obviously Tino's in there.
no, the first photo was my great my great grandmother.
Okay.
So my dad's grandma. Yes.
Okay.
She came over here from Mexico and had 13 children.
How many?
13.
Jeez.
And my grandma was one of them. and my dad. So my dad has a ton of cousins, but you know that side of the family is a lot of like all of. I think there's maybe a couple of my grandma's siblings that are still alive. But anyway, so that was the photo of her when she first crossed the border.
Wow.
With her first child.
Like an immigration kind of
Yes.
photo? Oh,
Yeah.
wow. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
And then the next photo was her older. And my mom just likes that photo because she thinks I got my nose from her. So.
I was talking to Miles Evans' dad down at the beach, and he's like same situation, like five boys, 6 girls, or something like that in his family.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's just me and my sister. It'll be like, that's a lot. And this has been more formal than I wanted, really. Like, how are you guys doing?
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Why are you guys sitting exactly the same way?
We talked about it on the ride over.
Did you drive together?
No.
Yeah, oh, telepathy.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. I can do that.
I think it's going to be nice to be able to play this weekend with, like, I do not take for granted the position we're in, so not having to fight for this league spot.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yes.
And we don't know what the situation's going to be like next year either. So
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, I feel for some of these players, and I've like, I don't want to name names, but like there's one player who's been really discouraged with everything, and I've been texting her a little bit because I kind of see myself in her. Like her journey is very similar to mine, where you know, like you go and win a tournament, and then you lose in the first round of the qualifier, and I'm like, I've literally been there, you know.
Yeah.
So, and it's tough because it's like there's so many good athletes, and so it's hard to see them, so many people being limited and discouraged, and but then again, I'm like, I'm so grateful for the position we're in, and we've earned it, you know. So it's like,
It's really intense.
Yeah.
Like to have friends in the sport talking to me about wanting to maybe quit because they just don't know what the future holds.
Yeah.
yeah.
And like even like us going down to the qualifier and watching, like it was a bloodbath. It's like intense.
My heart rate was 159.
Really?
Yeah.
Because of
130.
your personal stake in who you were watching, or just
Just the stress
Just
of watching.
both, yeah, all of it combined.
I mean, I remember the stress last year of, whoa, we got to do this and do that to make the
I
league.
mean, yeah, that's literally.
And then okay, made it. There's some like relief, but then it's like, well, we're sitting in like last, and this has to happen, and that has to happen.
Yeah.
Crazy. That's super stressful. Yeah, man.
I mean,
Getting
I know,
in and just so much relief.
I mean, I know people are doing that for this weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, people are praying. Certain people beat certain people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
There are people that are like,
Yeah. Name names. Yeah.
we'll be on the sideline watching you play. I'm like, okay.
Just I'll get on the side you're for side, and then just move when they move,
Yeah.
just to let the other team know who you're supporting.
College.
That's awesome. Is Huntington normal score, or is it the 15s?
Matches to 21.
Okay.
But single then.
Oddly enough, and obviously you're not going to name names here, but neither of you responded when I texted, group texted, who are we rooting for? Or who do we not want in? And neither of you responded.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I do.
Did you choose not to respond?
Well, I was just waiting to see if Geena was going to respond, and she didn't. So then I was like, okay.
Was this for this weekend?
Yeah, I think it was like a week ago maybe. I was like, who are we rooting for?
And neither one of us responded.
I mean, I know who I'm rooting for different reasons. One is I know who I'm rooting for, but you
I'm
know,
just conflicted.
yeah, we talk about it not on here.
I think I don't want to wish anyone bad juju. Or just
Yeah.
this sport is hard enough.
This thing that you both have displayed here, the way that you live your character, which is like you just sort of plowing your own field, not shit talking, not wishing ill will. When there's people that are the opposite of that, right? That are not. How do you if you encounter that? How do you maintain your cool?
I just change the subject.
Okay.
Or talk about something like maybe along the same lines of volleyball. Like I won't completely change the subject, but I just kind of like, yeah, or I don't know.
This sport is built to turn each other against It's like built to be that way.
And we're such a small community.
And everyone knows everyone, and everyone knows everyone about everything. And
Yeah.
if you want a secret, don't tell anyone.
Doing this for 30 minutes, however long we've been doing this, I'm losing the bad motherfucker vibe as the tent pole.
Where are you at?
Well, it's because like you guys don't even want to say it.
Say what?
Like bad motherfucker vibes. You're like, oh, like, you know,
Bad
when
motherfucker vibes?
when I'm being a really good player, when I'm being you said badass, but then here's the thing, as it comes down to bad motherfucker vibes, like if I am on mine, I'm just highly skilled, sort of quiet, confident, maybe trying to be funny, and just go, like, because it's different. Like some people are fiery, some whatever, and so. I was having this conversation with my mom over lunch because today's her birthday, but it was last week, and I was just telling her, yeah, I'm gonna go out there and I'm doing this, and I showed her a picture of a bad motherfucker vibe shirt, and she goes, bad motherfucker vibe. I go, just cause, you know, this and that. Oh. And then I showed her a picture, and she goes, why skull and crossbones? And because that's what it is, skull and crossbones, you know, with my mind right stuff. And I was like, I don't know, all my childhood trauma raging to the surface, right? But it's fine. But it did definitely does present a problem, you know, if people don't want to say motherfucker. So maybe I'll figure it out because a lot of people, like Amy Ozzie, like the person I would least expect was like, yeah, I like that. I want to be a bad motherfucker. Oh shit, okay.
Like that's the umbrella.
Mm-hmm.
But like everybody's so different that it's like they define it as
Something else?
yeah, as what they maybe it is bad motherfucker for them.
Yeah, maybe there's a continuum of like badass, but I guess badass and bad motherfucker are the same. It's just how you articulate it. Is having like a bad motherfucker vibe or being a badass or any of that teachable?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
How?
Because you choose confidence. I'm confident.
If you were mentoring somebody, how would you teach them confidence?
One of the things that I changed dramatically last year was my self-talk. And it wasn't just internal, it was like I would actually say it out loud.
Mm-hmm.
Also just, you know, like body language too. You know, like for me, going back to kind of when I'm playing my best, it's like my shoulders are back, but I'm relaxed, my face isn't scrunched, like I'm, you know, calm, cool, collected. So I think there's little things like that. There's also, you know, like, I mean, you can look up different exercises and stuff. Like I've journaled about, it's called an immediate progress review. So in practice, if you do something really well, like giving yourself time to celebrate that accomplishment and remembering that, and so that you can continuously think about that, so it's instilling more of that potentially to happen.
Yeah.
So there's lots of different ways that I think are teachable to instill that wouldn't say like you're not directly telling them to be confident, but ultimately it leads to confidence.
I want to ask you after this about your self-talk, but first I saw this thing today. I had this sort of epiphany watching you guys practice against that other team, and one of the women did something wrong and she didn't fuck. Oh, interesting. And that just sort of stuck with me. A lot of people do that, but anyway. And then I went down and I was watching some high-level men practice at their practice, and same thing happened. They're just firing balls at this guy, and he's shanking a few, and he's getting and I could see those mistakes lingering in him. And I watched, and I was like, it's strange that we curse the bad ones, but we never praise the good ones or the average ones.
Yeah.
And it's kind of what you just said. Like I was thinking, the brain favors negative information 6-1 over positive information, because at some point in our history, a little twig breaking outside the cave was something trying to eat us. So we had to amplify it and pay a lot more attention to it. So we go, oh fuck, and that's 6 times more powerful than going, hey, good job. So I told this player today, I was like, why don't you try every pass that you make, even though it's a drill that's easily playable by your partner, you have some sort of like affirmation of it and just see how it goes. And you know, what do y'all think of that?
I mean, I think it's also easy to celebrate when your partner does something well too.
Yeah.
So it could be like a, hey, you know, like
Yeah.
a reminder of like, that was a great swing, or that was a great set, or, and I just think you have to relish in those moments. And that's not like an arrogance thing. It can be internal, and you can like really think about it and just internalizing it so
Yeah.
that you.
Yeah, because this is what I think, like, if you go by the idea that a negative thing is 6 times more likely to stick, and you have a few shanks during practice, now in your head that's 18 shanks, and now you're emotionally responding to, your memory is of that, because it's all that's there. But if you had 50 good ones and you're like, man, I'm really good, those, yeah, good job, and you then maybe it neutralizes it if nothing else. Because I watch you guys and I watch everybody go, man, practice sucked, or the match sucked, or whatever, and I go, you might want to watch the film, like, because it wasn't as bad as you think, but you're reasoning emotionally because of those mistakes, whatever. Then let's go back to your self-talk. You said you've worked on changing that.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not perfect.
Yeah, nobody is.
Like, there are definitely times where I'm pretty hard on myself.
Well, that self-talk comes from that same place that the negative information preference comes from.
But as you know, I like to ruminate.
Of course.
Yes. So. I like to have pity parties.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's something I've done since I was a child. But anyway, yes, sometimes. But for me, it's like, yeah, in the moment, like, I definitely, if I'm on the court, I definitely want to try to like change my mindset quickly, get out of it quickly, having a partner who can like recognize that and helps you get out of it more quickly too.
What do you say to yourself, self-talk wise?
It was like a couple years ago before we were playing together, and I was playing like shit, and my coach at the time was in the box, and she was like, you're a champion, like, you gotta believe that, you gotta keep telling yourself that. And I was like, I don't fucking deserve it. I didn't deserve to win. And I was like, I can't believe I just said that to myself.
Yeah.
And then we went out and lost the match, and I was like,
You don't say.
that was pretty horrible.
You know what's interesting about that? How many women tend to do it more than men? I'm not sure why, but how many women get into, that I work with, get into finals, semifinals? Oh, I just don't feel like I deserve to be here. It's really strange. But like, what's the evidence that you don't? Because you are.
I think it's also a societal thing. Like, women aren't just supposed to be like I
less than.
Yeah, like.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just been instilled in us, or a lot of us,
Oh, okay.
to think like, oh, I don't deserve this. You know, whereas men, they're like always on the top of the
Yeah, whether we deserve it or not.
Yeah. Feed your ego.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we just end up comparing ourselves to other people, and we're like, oh my god.
Yeah. Interesting. That's pretty funny. Now I'm thinking like, man, this took a turn that I wasn't expecting about deserving or not deserving.
Yeah. But anyways, so yeah, my self-talk it's a challenge, but I continue to work on it. And
What's your go-to self-talk thing to bring you back?
I'm like, you got this. You've been here. You know, you've put in the work.
So what's yours?
I'm the best. So I say, I'm the best. Usually it's, I'm the best blocker on this court, or whatever. I'm just thinking about how to instill, like, feeling like I can do anything I want to do.
Yeah.
Which is your fault.
It's taking a real weird turn towards me. But listen, my little pep talks have done you some good, so it can't be all wrong. One of my happiest moments as a coach was one of the league things where you closed out and you just ran off the court. That's how you fucking finished. You remember that? You just grabbed me and yelled that in my ear. It's like, that is how you fucking finish. That's right. That was you fired up. I know your sort of take on this, and then we can sort of start wrapping it up, but I want to know yours because I don't talk to you as much about it. Where are you at with mindfulness? Like, how does that play into your vibe?
Me?
Yeah.
I've been trying to do a lot more meditation lately, and keeping my mindfulness journal, so it's not just being present, it's actually doing exercises and writing intentions and writing thoughts of gratitude. I read something the other day that really struck a chord with me in a good way, that when you have a sense of awe, so whether that's like being so enamored by something or
Yeah.
being so grateful for something, it quite literally in your brain chemically gets rid of fight or flight. And I was like, that's so interesting.
Uh-huh.
And I just think about all these different moments in my career where I was in fight or flight or feeling kind of down this rabbit hole. And I'm like, man, if I just could have had like, what's that like? But then there's been moments where I have had a sense of awe, being like, oh, hold on, Geena, like look around you, like
Yeah.
look at the stadium, it's packed. They're watching
Yeah.
me, like how cool is this? Or like my parents are up there, they're watching me, they're proud of me. It's like having those little moments and like so. Mindfulness for me is continuing to write down thoughts like that,
Mm-hmm.
or learning more about how our brain works and how interesting that is. And so, how can I implement that in more than just like a dig your toes in the sand, take a deep breath, and be present?
Yeah,
like
for
there's
sure.
other things you can do.
But yeah, there's that's for the moment you're serving.
Yeah.
But then there's this texture underneath it that
Yeah.
that supports that moment when you're serving. In my therapy side of my practice, I'll often talk to people about this that are depressed, and I'll say, "What's the opposite of depressed?" And they usually say happy. My belief is the opposite of depressed, or the other end of the spectrum, is awe. And I'll use the example like we'll be in my office and there's a window there, and like if an eagle were to perch outside my window, you wouldn't be depressed. You'd be like, holy shit. You'd just be in awe, right? You can't be depressed if you're in awe. You just cannot.
Yeah.
So I try to encourage people to have moments of awe,
Yeah.
because it like you said, it rewires stuff. Another interesting thing a lot of people don't know about gratitude practice. A lot of people, you go, what are you grateful for? And they'll go, my house and my parents and my car and my dog. Well, those are great things to be grateful for, but you're not actively grateful. You don't go, thank you, house, right? You just go, yeah, you sort of take it for granted. So gratitude practice is like, for me, my first coffee of the day. Oh, I love it. Every little thing that brings you some kind of bit of something is gratitude practice. And what happens is, if you are problem focused, if you're pessimistic, if you're negative, if that negative self-talk is winning, your perception narrows. You become problem focused, so every blip on the horizon becomes a problem. That's pessimism. But when you go, man, I'm grateful for whatever. I'm grateful for this Airbnb, even though there's a car honking outside, whatever. That opens up that perception in your brain chemically, so now you're solution focused, and that's optimism.
Yeah.
So literally being grateful for stuff all day long opens up your perspective on everything.
Right.
And so that's why gratitude is so important beyond just the big ticket items. Like
mushrooms.
the mushrooms. Listen, mushrooms, I heard this great thing about hallucinogens. They strip memory from perception. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you go like, you're on hallucinogens and you go, I'm going to look at the ocean. It's not the ocean you're in your memory. It's that very alive, vibrant ocean. I'm not saying I've ever done mushrooms a lot. But so, sometimes I've heard you can see every leaf on a tree. Like,
Well, I haven't either.
yeah, of course not. You're an athlete.
They call it.
Tree fingers.
What? Tell me more about tree fingers.
That's what they call it.
Well, supposedly they look like little fingers.
Okay.
Just like constantly moving.
Yeah.
I the way I think about it is like a 3-year-old, right? Is still taking in so much of the world.
Yeah.
And as you get older, you become desensitized to certain things because your brain needs to focus on certain things. And yeah, having the psychedelics, it opens up the wiring and like lets everything come in, and it's like you're seeing the world again as like a 3-year-old.
Yeah, you're not comparing it to that storehouse of memories that we all do to consolidate stuff. Like later, I'll go, hey, remember that Airbnb that we were in? You go, yeah. And I go, what color was the couch? You go, I don't know. There was a couch. Well, because you're looking at it. Is that blue?
I said blue before I looked at it.
We just consolidate. We're not present in stuff. And what I understand, mushrooms really let you be in that moment.
Like they've said.
Yeah. Sounds like a really cool thing to investigate. I should try that. I'll tell you some stories of recent theoretical stories when we turn this off. Interesting that you bring that up. Why you bring that up?
Well, I think that you can actually do it without psychedelics if you just actually take the time to think about it and be intentional about
present.
it. Yeah. But like being present in a deeper way.
Yeah. I hear you. And most people, I've really recognized a problem in my own teaching of people is that I haven't been super clear on what being present is. I go, you should be present, and wiggle your toes in the sand. Okay, cool. Wiggle my toes. Well, if you're wiggling your toes in the sand, going, I suck. It's not working. Like, you know what I mean? So I've been trying to dial in to teach. Yeah. Because you just now you've dialed wiggling your toes in the sand into sucking, and now everything's gone to shit. Yeah. So I've been real more intentional about being present because it's ambiguous, like sometimes being present is one thing, sometimes it's another. Interesting. Okay, last question for you, Yanni, too. What do you? Because you and I don't talk a lot about mindfulness, like she and I do. What do you think of it? Do you practice it?
Yeah, I've gone through phases of like using meditation or I don't know, like I've done some like listening to frequencies and,
what do you?
Yeah, you were like, listen to this frequency.
What do you?
I've
had that before.
Remember you did that in the car?
I did.
Yeah.
It's your giant. What do you experience when you listen to frequencies?
Well, there's certain frequencies that bring certain things, or like the ones that I listen to most is like manifestation or reducing anxiety. Like they label them in like a playlist I look up on Spotify, and
do you feel
when I see which one I pick, it allows me to believe that could actually happen. I don't know why, I don't know how, I just believe it. So then I'm
okay.
Yeah. I mean, as far as like I've tried journaling a lot. I'm not like the most consistent at it. I almost like am a little like judgmental when I journal
of yourself,
of myself, because I'm like I'm not really good at writing exactly what I'm thinking. So then I'll like make it sound better when I write it, and I'm like, what am I doing? Kind of thing. Yeah, like
so if
journaling is kind of hard for me.
If we read your journal, you would be like the best of everything in the world.
I did actually go back recently, and I found a journal from like 2 years ago. I was like kind of reading through some entries, and I was like, whoa, because my life has significantly changed from what I was journaling about. But I would like to be better at journaling as far as mindfulness goes. But yeah, it's just not the best for me necessarily. I do like yoga as well. When
we went to the witch, right, she told me to write my dreams down, right? I started doing that. And you sort of like write them down, and then you go, oh, whatever. Yeah. So then I put them in ChatGPT. Like I have a dream journal that I type. ChatGPT nailed me. Like stuff I wasn't even seeing about myself. So then I was thinking that it would be interesting what would happen if you were to put a journal entry in there and go, hey, analyze this. What it would say. What are y'all's plans for the rest of the day?
Eat dinner, go to bed.
What?
Eat dinner, go to bed.
Yeah. What time do you go to bed? 7?
I'm in bed by 8:30. Like reading or watching TikTok. 6 or 6:30.
That's a lot of hours. What time do you go to bed?
Depends on the day. Anywhere between 9 and when I got back from Brazil, I was falling asleep at 8. So, but now I'm a little bit better. Probably anywhere between 9 and 10:30. It's kind of a big gap, but whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that bad. I eat dinner though way earlier now than I used to. Like I used to eat dinner around 8.
Really?
Yeah, I don't even know how I lasted that long because I'd be starving at 6. I don't know. Yeah, but I eat dinner now like between 6 and 7.
How's your barista skills coming?
Very good. I am very much a barista.
Yeah.
Yeah, like hardcore. Would you like to see some photos after this?
Yeah, who wouldn't? When I come here, because it's 2 hours earlier, I try to go, the day I fly in, go to like the bar on the corner by my hotel and just kill time and maybe have a few drinks to make to stretch time out so I don't wake up at 4:30 because I get up at 6:30 at home. Last night,
Is it working?
no, last night they started closing it down about 10 and they're like, you can stay, because I go, you can stay, it's cool. And then they get some call, somebody's coming in, it turned into some raging thing for till like 1 in the morning.
Did you stay?
Yeah. And then I still woke up at 4:30. It's like, eyes open, shoot.
Gosh, so you're
Yeah.
gonna go to bed tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of laid there for a while and went back, but there's nothing happening. There's nothing to do at 4:30. It's like, kind of sucks.
There's nothing. I've been waking up at 5:30, between 5:30 and 6 every morning.
Yeah, that's
It's so frustrating.
I just put an audiobook in.
I mean, I usually will like toss and turn, and usually I'll have my eyes closed until my alarm goes off. But like,
Yeah.
I ain't sleeping.
You don't care that you're losing some of the audiobook?
I put a timer.
So
Okay.
she knows exactly how much to go
Yeah,
back.
so like,
Oh.
so I'll put like 20 minutes on or 10 minutes if I feel like I'm gonna fall asleep pretty quickly. And so then I'll like, if I wake up and I'll be like, take my headphones off, I'm like, oh, let me go back 10 minutes. And then I'll just re-listen to a minute or two until,
This would be my dilemma there. If I go, I'm going to set it for 10 minutes, and then I'm still awake. Then I have to reset it.
well,
And
then I do 20 minutes.
well, then it's going to be keeping me awake. That's a lot for me. And headphones too.
Yeah, I don't know. She sleeps like a coffin though, so it's not like the headphones are bothering her.
I'm just like,
She's like this.
Really?
yeah.
That's just comfortable? Like,
Yeah, I love it.
huh.
That is not how I sleep.
Like this.
How do you sleep? Just wild? Like you live?
Is that a pillow?
All over the place. Usually hugging a pillow because of my shoulder.
It hurts to sleep because of your shoulder?
No, that's just like how when I had shoulder surgery in 2020, that's how I had to sleep, and now it's just what I like to do.
When we went to the medium and she said I had scar tissue and I should blah blah blah, I got some wedges. Because I looked at those pillows you see in your Instagram feed where you could put your arm through the hole, like $250.
You got one?
No. So it's $250. So I got 2 wedges that like you put up in a hospital bed or whatever, put them together, and so then I would sleep going up on the wedge with my arm hanging down, and then stack pillows, and it healed. So I did something to it when we were here celebrating winning that night. You don't remember?
No, I said you don't remember.
Yeah, there's gaps of that night that I don't remember.
Do you remember making jokes in the pizza place?
Oh my gosh.
That pizza place. I'm surprised the police didn't come to that police. Are you trying to say it was me? Because I felt like y'all were the most obnoxious people on earth in that pizza place.
Anyways.
Came felt so awkward.
Did he really?
It was you, Troy, and Eric that were just like,
Getting after it. Y'all were getting after it. We're all just chowing down.
we're
pizza.
like, this is the worst piece of pizza I've ever eaten.
I don't even remember.
It was horrible.
Yeah, there was
Burnt?
some burnt. Yeah, I remember that.
I don't remember.
All they had was cheese. Remember?
Yeah. My big problem that night was walking out of there saying goodbyes and Miles catching me in the street going, hey man, we're going to another bar. You want to go? All right. Yeah.
My favorite part of that night was the things I was told after. I mean, I can't say what, but
Yeah.
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 Oh, okay. There's a lot of secrets you guys keep from me that I find out anyway.
What are you talking about? We don't keep secrets. You keep secrets.
Anyway, should we wrap this up?
Yes. I appreciate you guys coming and for this, for the 2 minutes that'll be usable out of this. And now I have to go back and watch it all.
To edit it.
Yeah, we could be done. No, it's trim them. Thank you.